People like me often get called in when a crisis is happening, but actually what you want to see is prevention and support for people before that big crisis. And I think what this standard does is it gives you the processes, the policies, the practical guidance, the language about how to put suicide prevention, intervention and support for those affected by suicide there in an organisation before you're dealing with crisis. It's proactive, it's prevention. I'd really like to see the standard formally adopted across organisations, and then it's putting in place those policies and processes. You know, sometimes people don't respond to people in distress or who disclose because they don't know what they do with that. They're afraid of saying the wrong thing. So you want to see training about having those conversations. You want to see that all the policies, practices, who you signpost to, who you refer to, that's there, that's clear for people and they know how to do it. One of the big strengths of the development of this standard is the range of people who sat on the committees and inputted into the content of the standard. Now, there were practitioners, there were people with lived experience, there were academics, clinicians, people who worked in certain industries, people who were delivering training across organisations, and we all came into it with ideas about how this would work. And I think one of the big strengths of this standard is that there was challenge, there were different ways of working, and then we came to a consensus. And I think that consensus is what makes the standard so adaptable to all the different places we need it to work. So when you have such a broad range of sort of stakeholders and collaborators feeding into a standard, it means that all the best practice from the places they come from. So you know, this standard is practical, but it's also evidence informed. And what that means is that you can trust that it brings the perspectives of all those different people working in suicide prevention, which means you're sort of getting the best practice guidance to be adopted across organisations. Most people who are affected or bereaved by suicide, they often don't talk to people. They don't seek help. They don't contact the national helplines. They don't contact statutory services. They're in our communities, and workplaces are in our communities. So I really think the transformative potential of this standard is amazing.